Hey everybody. Wanted to cover a subject today on this chilly December 1st morning up here at the property and talk about power outages. According to the US Census Bureau, approximately 33.9 million households, so not just people, but households, go without power at any given time in a single year. Oftentimes, as we know, that could be several hours, it can be days, it can be weeks. What do you do when that happens? And with these winter storms that have happened in the month of November across the Midwest and all that, there were some serious situations. Going in without power and it's freezing and you can't get anywhere, not a good situation. Anyway, obviously that's a huge problem. And in my situation, living out here off grid, even this morning it was literally 5 degrees already, December 1st. It was extremely cold, but I was warm. I've got propane heat. I'm not reliant on electricity there. And I had power. I was watching TV this morning. So if someone were to ask me, hey, the power went out, what are you doing? Watching TV. Maybe putting something in the microwave, I'm good to go. So, it doesn't affect me, literally at all. I've been out here for 2.5 years and I've never been without power, not once that I can think of. Even if the solar panels, sorry, the alarm just went off. That's my security camera, which is also solar, funny enough. Anyway, even if my solar panels don't generate enough power to charge the batteries because of super cloudy multiple days, I've got the backup generators. I have 2 of them. This one's a little 2200 watt one that I got off Amazon. It's been awesome. And the one up by the tent that I still have never brought down here, I think is 4,000 watt. Anyway, and they hook up to propane. I've never put fuel into them at all because you stand the chance of gelled fuel in the cold winter months, that kind of thing. Gosh. That alarm. It sees me moving around, which is awesome. That's what I want it to do. But, if you can set yourself up with a backup power system or just totally go solar with some generator backup, I highly recommend it for sure.
So, I chose today's topic because the vast majority of people live in urban areas around the world or suburban areas around the world, particularly in the United States. So I'm really kind of talking about United States folks here. But you're 99% chance you're reliant on the electric grid. I mean, I was for decades and decades myself. One of the reasons I chose to live off grid and I went overlanding for quite a while before I found my actual property. One of the reasons for that was freedom. No utility bill at all, and no worries about black outages, gray outages, whatever they call them, but outages. And you think of the scenarios where, folks might think, oh, that's never going to happen to our area, we're good. But then you think, who would have expected the hurricane to have affected North Carolina mountainous areas? And they were without access to help and no power, all that, and that lasted weeks. It was horrible for those people. They had a helicopter in help, helicopter in generators, all that kind of stuff. I mean, shoot, if somebody was already set up out there, as an example, they could have been watching TV. I mean, I hate to say that. That's just odd. But it's just an example. Like, well, it's not affecting me at all. I'm good. I'm gonna pop some popcorn in the microwave, whatever. And then the recent snowstorms in the Midwest, they hit really hard. I mean, it was really hard. We're talking North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, I think Michigan, I think even some lower states got affected. I think Iowa got affected, Ohio. Anyway, that was all in November. That was all very recent, right before Thanksgiving. All those people without power, and it's freezing. And you really can't go anywhere because they weren't necessarily ready to plow the roads and, be ready for a winter storm. But, man, if they had a solar setup and backup generators and all that, everybody would have been just fine. Fridges run, no food gets spoiled, your CPAP machine works, all that. Whereas in an off-grid rural environment, there's no power lines. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't hook up to power. Just because, approximately 300 days out of the year we get sun, at least enough to charge batteries. And like I said, on the days where we just don't get enough sun, I just start up the propane powered generator, run it for a few hours, and top off my batteries, and I'm still watching Netflix. I'm looking at YouTube. Like, it just doesn't bother me. Is it an investment? Yeah. I mean, it's not inexpensive to get a solar power set up and have generators. That it's not cheap at all, but it is 100% worth the investment, and maybe save up a little bit at a time to be able to do it, even just as a backup. If you just have like a little 500-watt system, I mean, you can at least run things for maybe 12 hours. But, if you got a family and your food spoils, that's not good. Not good at all. You got kids to feed, that kind of thing. That would just be horrible. But we'll be discussing things like that. And the reason I chose to talk about it today was that's probably the first thing that people are going to notice if, things go awry. And that's going to be the discomfort of not having power. In a lot of urban homes and most suburban homes, you won't even be able to cook. Your electric stove and electric oven won't work. You have no power. What are you going to cook? Okay, we'll pour some cereal. Okay, well, cool. Once you open up that fridge, you crack that seal, time's ticking till all that food inside spoils. And the more times you open up that fridge and you have no power, eventually all your food spoils. Not good. But if you had a system running to where everything was just running, then you never really have to worry about it. You can feed your kids, feed yourself, cook. I highly recommend natural gas or propane, particularly propane, because even natural gas is metered and is controlled by, funny enough, power. If the gas plants lose power and they can't supply you natural gas, as an example, because the meter's shut down and all that, and they just shut it down, you don't have anything. But if you're on propane locally, like just propane tanks, you control everything yourself. It's phenomenal, and I highly recommend it. So if you have any questions, leave comments and down below. We'll chat about it or whatever. But this is pretty much one of the first topics I wanted to cover because a lot of people are affected. A lot. So, all right, we'll talk to you soon.